Hi, I'm JoAnna Farrar.
And I'm Denise Crucy. We are the High Priestesses of North Wyldewood Coven.
So today I think we want to talk a little bit about nature-based religions, right?
We do. What does practicing a nature-based religion mean to you? I know.
It's a big topic.
It is.
So we'll see. Well, that was one of the main things that when I first kind of had Wicca appear in my life, I saw a TV interview of somebody who's a witch on like a local access channel, I remember. And she talked about it being a nature-based religion. And she talked about finding the divine in nature itself. And as a little kid, it instantly, something about what she said clicked in my head, because my whole life, I was a weird kid and I loved to spend as much time outside as I could. I would take my books out to trees and just go sit by a river and read. And it always seemed to me that was the most sacred part of my day. That was where I could connect with spirits and connect with the earth and the sky. So when she said that, I instinctively reacted and was like, yes, this is where the divine is. The divine is in everything. The divine is life itself. And so really it comes down to acknowledging and being aware of the sacredness of the world around us. And to a degree, I am also an animist, which means that there is a personhood to, things that are natural around us. And therefore we must have a kinship and a connection and a respect for everything around us. And by being a practicing Wiccan, to me that means honoring that connection to nature and also honoring and respecting my connection to all of life around me.
And I, too, when growing up, I spent a lot of time in upstate New York. At the time, this was like in the 70s, because I am old as dirt. And I spent every weekend and summers just basically wandering the fields and woods and the local farm when I was a dairy farm, and spent time with my cats. So I felt that I could communicate with my cats, and my parents, I guess, were pretty out there, and they were like, yeah, sure you can. They encouraged any kind of creativity and imagination things that I brought up. So there were trees that I spent time in, and there was a tree known as the grandfather tree. And when they had to cut it down, when my dad had to cut the tree down, he had to tell me first before they cut the tree down, and I mourned the tree. But it was time, because it was old, and everything has a cycle, and everything has a life cycle, and you can see these things in nature. And you can learn from nature, which I think is part of being a nature-based religion.
Of course.
Is that, what you see in nature mirrors back with how you can work out your own issues or problems. And I feel like also that, if you have something that makes you sad or even when you're celebrating, but mostly I think like when you're sad, you can go and give it back to the earth. And the water will wash away your sadness and help cleanse you. In fact, my mom says, if you don't feel well, Denise, take a shower, you'll feel better. And
it's
it
really
is
true.
Absolutely correct, despite how many times I fight her.
Yeah.
But I, like JoAnna, am an animist. So nature, trees have life, and everything does, like the cats. Oh, well, none of them are coming over here now.
No, of course, when we want them to come and sit on our laps, they don't. No, not at this time. But I think that's really important, and I think it's an element of celebrating the 8 sabbats it's about honoring, where you are in the, at the time. If you happen to be in a temperate zone, then that makes it a little easier. But, we are New England-based people, and in that temperate zone, we can see the seasons change. And in the way that Wicca was developed, it allows us to see those seasons and those life cycles mirrored in our daily lives as well. So it's more than just like, oh, I celebrate Imbolc because, there's snow on the ground, but the days are getting a little longer. It's like, what does Imbolc mean to me? And how does that relate to the projects that I'm planning and what's happening inside of me and what's happening in my dream life and what's happening in my subconscious. And the more that you give that attention, the more powerfully those symbols and signs can come through to you and you can be more connected to yourself, and also just have a better perspective, a larger perspective on what's going on inside of you, so that you can, actualize that in the everyday world as well.
Yes, and also celebrating the sabbats helps us to slow our lives down, because we have tons of information overloading us, and technology, and at this point we're also in our homes and not spending as much time together out in the world. And if you can slow down and notice the nature around you, and also realize there's something larger than you out there, then you don't feel so alone. And you can slow yourself down and really connect with that.
Yeah. And I think that part of that is also that with a nature-based religion, there is that idea of reciprocity in relationship. So it's more than just like our relationships to other people, to other humans, which are really important, of course. And also, though, it's important to look at our relationships to the natural world as an integral part of our lives, something that is not just our man-made technologies or our man-made ideas. And when we invite that information, that kind of connection that we can get from nature, it totally expands and changes our perspective on our own lives, which I think is really important.
Yeah.